When you're launching a new product on Amazon Australia, you can definitely just rely on the organic sales and the power of the differentiation of your product. But at the moment, because the marketplace is a little bit smaller, some of the search volumes for some categories can be on the low side. And especially when you're launching, you want to show up as much as possible. That's why today I'm going to go over a full PPC launch strategy that you guys will be able to use along with your organic sales to kickstart your product and get as many sales as possible to rank your product quickly. So today I'm going to be going over 3 key points. The first being how to actually get your keywords, how to build that list and know what it is that you want to target. 2 is how to set up all your different campaigns. I'll go through the different campaigns that I think you'll need for launch and how to set up each different type so that you're ready once your product is ready to sell. And then 3 is for in the future, once you've started selling and you're making sales, is how to optimize these campaigns and how to ensure we're heading towards a destination that is the most amount of profit for you that's still going to allow you to get heaps of sales. Now, just a disclaimer, this is going to be a high education packed video. A lot of people make PPC super complicated, and I'm going to try and break it down so it's as easy to understand as possible, but there are some things that I'm going to have to go into a bit of detail, so it might go on and on. It's not going to be as high an entertainment value kind of thing. There's going to be spots where you want to go back over and re-watch it so that you get the hang of it, or while you're doing it there as well. And if you get stuck at all, you have any questions, leave a comment down below on this video. Always reply to every single comment, or you can send me a personal message in our Discord. The link is down below. I reply to all the messages that come through and I can answer them and give you a hand with getting your PPC set up. And then the last thing before we jump into my computer and I start breaking it down for you is we're having a live training session on this Sunday afternoon. If you're watching this in the future, we have our training sessions regularly. If you click the first link down in the bio, these training nights where I go through some really high level advanced Amazon seller education, I get more time to get to spend with you so I can go into more details, I can answer more questions, but the spots are limited. We launched this yesterday and we've already filled up nearly half of the spots. So if you want to jump in, we're going to be going through my exact product research strategy. I'm going to break down some $1 million brands for you and show you how to compete on a global scale. So make sure you click that link down below, register. It's totally free. We're also giving away an access to our new Amazon Australia University program, which has over $10,000 worth of value. So it's one of the only times I'm giving away one of the memberships. So if you want to be in the running just to get a giveaway, all you have to do is click that first link and register for the training night, and I'll see you there. Let's jump into my computer and let's get this PPC ready for launch. Alrighty, amazing. So I'm going to be going between the camera and my computer here so that I can really break things down and explain it easily for you. And of course, the one thing you're going to need in order to do this is a product research tool. Now, if you're wanting to sell on Amazon and you don't have a product research tool by this stage, then I don't know what you're doing. I always recommend it. You have to spend money to make money and you need a product research tool. So I use ZonGuru. It's the one that I found is the best for in the Amazon Australia marketplace. I've done videos sort of comparing a couple of them, and if you don't have a membership yet, there's a discount link down below. You can get 50% off your first month or 20% off the entire year that you pay for it. But we're going to jump into ZonGuru here, and the first tool we're going to be using is the keywords on fire. So when we come across here, I've got a pretty simple example we're going to be running through today, and it's going to be selling rubbish bins. And if you've come to any of my Sunday product talks, I had this weird one where we went through the rubbish bins and how we would potentially launch it. But I have the keywords here already. But if you didn't have them there and you have this for your product, what you're going to do is you're going to come across here, and we want to make sure we're setting our destination to the Australian marketplace. And then we're going to come across and we want to add products by phrase. We don't want to put the ASINs in by themselves. So it's selected on the Australian market, and we would just type in here, rubbish bins. And then we're going to hit search, and it's going to pull the top listings that are under that keyword. So what I do is I just hit select all, and then we're just going to scroll down and look if there's anything in here that's not a rubbish bin. And if there was, we would just untick it and take it out, but that doesn't look like there is. So we're going to add these products, and then you just have to name your thing, your session. So I would just go YouTube e.g. rubbish bins. But of course, I always, when I do it for my actual ones, I like to date them so that if I'm constantly updating my list like we're about to build, you're going to know which ones are the most recent because your keywords do change over time. So once we've hit that, we're going to hit run keyword analysis, and that's going to build out your list of keywords. Now this can take like 10 to 15 minutes depending on how big or how many keywords there are. Because I've already done it, we're going to jump in here and we press the little eye icon, and it's going to show us that there's 300 unique keywords. The total revenue across all those keywords is just over $1 million a month, and the total search volume is 58,000 a month. Now, obviously, compared to the US marketplace, this is a lot smaller, but this is more than enough for us to work with and to make decent amount of revenue. And that's the whole appeal of the Australian marketplace, right? Is that it's smaller, that there's areas like this with already a lot of traffic, and because we've been taught and we've learned how to sell effectively on Amazon, we're going to get in early, get the good real estate, and as that traffic and that money increases, we're going to make more and more money. So we're going to scroll down here and have a look through them, and we just want to make sure that they are filtered via the ZonGuru score. This is going to give us the best combination of search volume, how many competitors are using that keyword, and then like the average PPC bid and so forth. So we can see here like our top keyword is like motion sensor bin, we've got automatic bin, just the word bin here, but we can see that there's a number of them where not even half of the top 25 competitors are using that keyword in their title, which is fantastic for us. We want to chuck that in our title. We're going to definitely put it in our PPC campaigns, and that way we can just rank really easily for it. But this is our list here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to select on the left here to select them all. And then we're going to come across to the little cog, and we want to export this as a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet so that then we can just copy all of the keywords really easily, and we're going to use that to put it into our campaign. So we can see that on the left here, we have all of our keywords along with the ZonGuru score and all that other data there that we'd seen. So we're going to come back to this in a second where we're going to need to copy the keywords. But for now, let's jump across to our Seller Central so that we can start getting our campaign set up. So now you've got your list of keywords. That was really easy, right? That's all you need for when you're starting off and you're getting ready to launch. And now we're going to go into how to actually set up the campaigns and what type of campaigns it is that you're going to need. And then as well as this, something that I find really important is how to label your campaigns. You got to remember we want to keep everything organized and easy for us to optimize down the track. If you just have a bunch of random campaigns in there that all look the same, it's going to be hard to know which ones are active, which ones you've edited, and which ones you need to change. So we're going to go through how to label them so that you can effectively keep track of everything and get rid of the old ones and only keep the ones you've been working on. Now, it is also really important to note that when launching, I personally adopt a really aggressive PPC strategy. Now, this might not work for anyone. My entire channel is just me sharing my experience, what it is that I've done. And I always say that you have to do your own research and you have to figure out what's going to work for you. Different strategies are going to apply to different marketplaces. With PPC especially, you have to test it, which I'm going to talk about in the optimization at the end of the video. But this is personally what's worked for me. So when you see some of the settings we're going to apply, this is to go forth with a very aggressive PPC strategy. And the main reason that I do that is because I want to get a lot of sales, okay? Especially early on, because the more sales you get through PPC, the higher you're going to organically rank for that keyword. Okay, so if you think about it, at the start we want to go super aggressive and get heaps of sales with our PPC, so then our organic ranking climbs and climbs and climbs, and then we're going to get seen by more people organically, so we're going to get more sales over here which don't cost us anything. So as this gets higher and higher and we get more sales over there, we can then start to bring back our PPC, and then we're going to find that they're going to equal out at some point, and it's just going to make us the most amount of profit. So this is obviously my dashboard, and I've had to blur some stuff out because I have some products in on this account, but yours won't have any details, and you're just going to come down to create campaign, and we're going to start off with first the sponsored product campaigns. Now this is when it's just your product that is being advertised. It'll show at different places on the search term page when people search for something. And as you'll see what we're about to go through, we can get the product to show up in different places on purpose. But that's the first one that we're going to start with. So if we click in here, we want to start a sponsored product campaign, and then it's going to bring us through to this screen. So firstly, we're going to want to name it, okay? So I always start these off with a number depending on what round of campaigns I'm making. So if these are your first round of campaigns that you've made, I would start it with 01 and then do a dash. You can see my auto one's already coming up, but because we're doing sponsored products, we're going to set it as SP for sponsored products. And now this first campaign is going to be an exact match campaign. So we want to put dash, if I could spell, doing this with one hand, dash exact. Okay, so then we know that campaign is the first one, it's a sponsored product, and it's an exact campaign. Now, for those who don't know, an exact campaign is we're going to put in those keywords, the list that we had. So if we put in rubbish bin, it means that Amazon is going to target just the word rubbish bin for our product. It's not going to branch off into anywhere else. It's just the keyword, how we spell it, how that is put in. So I'll get to the other types of campaigns shortly. We're just starting with the exact. So then you're going to scroll down here and you would have your product listing on the side here. You're going to hit add and it would add the product in on this side. And then we're going to come down, and because we're doing an exact match campaign, we're going to want to switch this to manual targeting. We're going to come down, and for this first one, we're doing keyword targeting. So we can just leave it on that there. And we're going to come down, and Amazon have like their suggested keywords, but we're just going to hit on the enter list because we have our own list, and we want to untick the broad and phrase campaigns because we're just doing exact. Now, another thing for me to mention is when we're going through all the different campaigns that you're going to want to set up, you're going to notice that I don't include any phrase campaigns at all for in Amazon Australia. Now that is just based off my experience, and I have found that they don't run well at all. They barely even run any traffic, and I rarely ever get any clicks through them. So in my experience, I wouldn't recommend ever needing to run a phrase campaign. Definitely not until the volume starts to ramp up a bit, but at the moment you can definitely just use the exact and the broad plus the other ones that we're going to go through. So then we're going to want to enter in our list of keywords, of which we're going to come back to our list, and it's sort of important to remember here that one, we don't want any brand names to be in this list, okay? It's against Amazon's terms and services to advertise at another brand specifically. They don't really police it a lot really hard. So again, it's your choice whether or not you want to do it. But we kind of want to go through our list, and we obviously, we come through here and there with 300 keywords. So we don't want to put all 300 in, right? We want to cap it off somewhere, and it's going to be different for each person. But you want to come through, and we've got it sorted via the ZonGuru score, and you kind of want to come down and just look at, and you'd want to choose a point where maybe the search volume starts to drop off and the keywords start to not be as related to the product, especially for starting off, and we just want to take them from there. So for me, I'm just going to take the top 14 there, I think that is, because that top one doesn't count, and I'm just going to hit copy on that. And then we're going to jump back across and we're going to paste them in here on Amazon. Alrighty, so then once you've pasted all your words in there, you'll be able to hit add keywords. And of course, there's something just to keep in mind. Now you look at these keywords, and if we were doing a bin that was a sensor bin, it would be totally fine, like it's automatic. We've got keywords in here like sensor bin or automatic rubbish bin kitchen. If, of course, your bin wasn't automatic or it wasn't the self-serving, you don't want to have those keywords in there, right? Because then you're going to be spending money to show up in areas that people aren't even looking for your type of product. So you want to keep that in mind when you're filtering through, which are like your top 10 to 15 keywords. So we're going to hit add, and they're going to jump across here, and this is going to come up for us because some of the keywords don't have enough search volume or enough people advertising for them yet, that Amazon knows like what a suggested bid is. So it's going to come up here. I always just leave it at the dollar if Amazon is unsure, and that's something we're going to adjust later on. We'll see like what people, when they click on it, what it's going to cost us, but just for now, just leave it at $1. So you're going to see they're all over here on the right now, and just for this example, I didn't know this was going to happen, but it turns out all of them didn't have the suggested bid for Amazon, which is crazy. You know, you look at that and it means that there's hardly anyone advertising on those keywords, which is really good for you. But I'll be able to show you what that will look like in a couple of the other campaign types that we're going to run. So it just means we're going to leave them all there now, and then we're going to scroll down. We don't need to do any negative keyword targeting. And for all the campaigns that I'll be running today, we're going to leave them all at dynamic bids down only. Now, I know there are some other people who talk about using up and down or the fixed bids. For me, for launching, what I've used in my experience, this is the way I've always done it, because Amazon love to take your money whenever they can. So in doing the down only, it is going to save you more money, because I find with these smaller search volumes, Amazon does tend to give you some cheaper clicks, which is what we really want to find. But to make up for doing the down only, we can actually click on this little tab here, which is adjust bids by placement. And a lot of people don't talk about this in the videos. It stays for the course, but I'm sharing it today. But we want to come in and we want to set our top of search to 100% and our product pages to 50%. Okay, now remember I said this is very aggressive strategy, because what this means is it will allow for a bid of $1 to be taken all the way up to a $2 bid if it means we would get the top spot of the search page. Okay, now for me, that's a really important, powerful spot to get, so I'm willing to pay a bit more, especially at the start. But this would be something we'd keep an eye on, and as we're testing and then we get ready to optimize, if we need to bring it back a bit, 80%, 70%, 60, 50, whatever it is you want to test it, that's definitely something we can do. But for the start, we're going to set our campaign at this, and then we're going to scroll down. Your name that you had from before, you want to copy that and then paste it down here for the campaign name. Now, I'm not going to set an end date for this campaign. That only says one of my other campaigns use it because one of my actual running campaigns do, but yours won't. But I never set an end date for it unless you're running like a promotion or a special. And then your daily budget, look, I find you can set this at like $10 or $20. A lot of the times you're not going to use your budget, okay? Unless you're in some of the really big niches. In Australia, I find that I've never ever used my budget up. And I have some campaigns that run really highly, but I have never ever used my budget, which is, I know if anyone sells in the US market, completely different. You use your budget up really quick. So you can sort of put whatever amount you want in there. Don't set it too high, but you'll be able to judge that as you're selling as well. So that's the first campaign. That's the sponsored product exact. You would just click launch campaign, and then what was your blank dashboard is going to show up with this campaign name in there and all these settings and keywords saved, and it's going to start once it's approved. Your first couple campaigns might take like a couple minutes for Amazon to check them, but once it's approved, you're going to start advertising to it, and you'll be able to search in Amazon for those keywords, and you'll find your product there advertising for them. So then the next campaign that I would set up for the launch would still be another sponsored product, but instead, if we imagine we've just gone in, we've created a new campaign, and instead of it being an exact, we're going to want this one to be a broad campaign, okay? So what this means is instead of Amazon just targeting the word that we have there, that keyword, it targets that exactly. It's going to target variations of that keyword. So if we have automatic bin, it'll target automatic bins, automatic bin self-sealing, automatic bin lid, all those words that sort of have automatic bin in it is going to search broader terms that use it. Now in Australia, I have found the broad campaigns to be the most successful, especially compared to the exact. The exacts end up being way more expensive and getting way less valuable traffic. So I have a lot of broad campaigns that I focus on, but I wanted to show both of them. And for launching, you definitely want to have both so that you can see which ones work best, and then you can cut back on whichever one is costing you the most or not getting enough traffic. So we've labeled it there correctly, and then we'd then add our product in like normal. We'd come down again. This is another manual targeting, and we're doing keyword targeting. So then you're gonna put your keywords in here on the left again, but instead of having exact selected, we want to have broad. So we're gonna have that, and we're gonna hit add keywords just like we did last time, and they're all gonna process over here to the right. We're just gonna select, because none of those ones have the suggested bid. So now we've got all those keywords in, but you can see for the match type, it's now broad instead of exact. So we've got that. We're going to scroll down. Again, we want to have dynamic bids down only, and we want to keep it at the 100 and then the 50% as well. So we want to keep that for our exact and for our broad campaigns. We're going to come down. You'd have this change to broad because it's what you have up the top. And again, I would just keep my daily budget at the $10, $20. Doesn't really matter. And again, you'd come in, you'd hit the launch campaign, and then you'd have your sponsored product exact and your sponsored product broad. So you'd have two campaigns set up and ready to go. So then the next type of sponsored product campaign is going to be an ASIN campaign. Now what this is, instead of targeting a keyword, you're going to target other people's products. So this shows up on their listing page, and you're gonna put in here the ASIN of your top competitors, because when people go to buy their products, we want our image to show up and we want to steal a couple of sales away from them. It's also really important to make sure you put your own ASIN in so that you're advertising your product on your page and someone else can't advertise their product there and try and steal your sales. So we're going to change our ad name here. We'd put in ASIN instead of broad. We'd add our product, we'd come down. This is another manual targeting, and we're not doing keyword targeting anymore. We're doing product targeting. So we want to click this one, and it's going to change it, and we're going to come down, and we want to go individual products. And then again, we have our own list, so we can click over here, and then this is where we come back to our list. And if we scroll across, we can see up the top here, it actually has the ASINs of those top 25 competitors. So what you do is you'd copy those ASINs and then paste them straight in here, and it's going to bring those all up for us to target. Now we also have the option here to hit it either as exact or an expanded campaign. This is like running either an exact or a broad campaign, but for the ASINs that we're targeting. So just to start off, we're going to leave it as an expanded. As we go on and you start selling, if you find it's going way too broad, it's like we're selling bins and it's targeting like chopping boards and stuff, we're going to want to tone it back. We'd select the exact then on the campaign, but for now you'd want to leave it at the expanded. You'd add them all in. So here's one for an example, and then we'd hit target, and it would show up there just like that. It's got what it's called, the ASIN, and you'd have a longer list of them. So then again, we're going to scroll down. We want to keep it as our dynamic bids down only. We're going to leave the 100 and the 50% on there. We make sure that our name is ASIN. And then we leave the budget and we're going to hit launch campaign. So then we're going to start targeting other people's products and starting to steal their sales right before they get them. And then the last sponsored product campaign that you want to set up, and this one's super easy, is your automatic campaign. So this one you set up and it's going to go out and try and test keywords that it thinks your product would sell under, as well as targeting different ASINs. So this one you have to let it go for a little while. It might go off in various directions, but it learns from itself. And then after a while, you can start letting it know with negative keywords what you don't want it to target, but it's going to find keywords that might not have been on your Zon Guru list that then later on you can add into these campaigns that we've just made. So we want to change our title here. We want to make sure we've got the sponsored product still, but we've got the automatic campaign. You're going to add your product in, and then we want automatic targeting. So you see that gets rid of a lot of the other options. We'll just leave our default bid at $1. That's something we can change later on. And we want to leave all the negative targeting, leave it at the dynamic bids down only, and we want to leave our percentages the same again. we'd update this name, leave our budget. Well, actually, for the automatic, your budget is more important, okay? Because they can run wild. So I definitely put the $10 budget there. See if it's using it up. See if it's staying relevant. If it is, increase your budget if you can to let it gather more and more campaigns. And then we just hit launch campaign. So that one's super easy. So then you'd have all your sponsored product campaigns up and running. You'd have your exact, your broad, your ASIN, and your automatic campaign. So we're now going to move across to the sponsored display campaigns. And you might be thinking like, whoa, Lucky, like I don't have a heap of money to spend on advertising and this is going to be a heap of campaigns, going to go over my budget. But you need to remember that when you start selling, when you sell a product, that amount that people buy it for, that gets taken off the amount that you use for your advertising. So let's say you spend $10 on advertising for the day, right? Amazon charges you $10, your product is $30, then $10 will get taken out of that $30 to pay back Amazon. So then you actually don't get charged anything for that. So you can actually spend a lot more on your advertising. Once you have it figured out and you're profitable, you don't actually have to put in any money there because it just gets taken from your sales before you get paid out by Amazon. So if we come back down here, we'd go create campaign again. And instead of clicking on sponsored product, we're going to select sponsored display. So we'd click continue here. Now these type of ads they'll like show up at the top of the search page, or they'll give a much bigger spot on people's listings. So we come across into here now and we're gonna change our title because we want to have it as a sponsored display, but our first one is going to be labeled traffic. Now the sponsored display targeting is a little bit different, as you can target categories and then you can make it optimized for certain goals. So the ones we're going to be doing is traffic, and then there's also conversion. So you're wanting it to optimize to show to people who are going to purchase. So once we've got our title there, we're going to scroll down. We set our daily budget. I've got ours at $20 here. And we'd want to come down and update that. And then our bidding is here. This is what I mean. So there's optimize for reach, optimize for page visits, and then optimize for conversions. So for this one, for our traffic campaign, we're going to leave it here at the optimize for page visits because we want it to be shown to people who are going to be most likely to click on our ad and come through and check out our product, check out our brand. So then we can scroll down and then we have the choice of either an image or a video. Now, of course, this is up to you. If you have your brand registry, you can put a video in if you've had a video made up. Nothing wrong with just doing an image. If it was me, I would personally be doing one of each for each of the categories we're about to go through. So we'll just leave it on image here. We'd come down, add our product in, and then we want to leave it for this one at the contextual targeting instead of the audiences. So then for this traffic campaign, we're going to come down and we're going to go to categories. And for a lot of the categories that you're going to be selling under, you're going to have a lot more suggestions show up here. So you can see they've already added in the similar to advertised products category. So that means people who are searching things that are like a bin, our brand and our product is going to show up for them when they search it. But because I don't have other suggested ones here, I can also come across to search and have a look for some other categories. So for us, we probably want to have a look in the home or the kitchen and dining category, whether I can just add that as a whole thing. And it looks like the only other type really are these others, which it'll be a deep rabbit dive, which you can look at, but I'm just going to add the kitchen and dining topic by itself. And you can see that will add it in over here. And it currently is $1.65 per bid. So I'm going to leave it there at the suggested one for now, but as I go and we get into the optimizing, which I'll talk about soon, that's something you can definitely change dependent on the results. So you'd go in and you'd add in as many categories as you like there. You want to keep them relatively relative to your product, and you don't want to sort of, if I'm selling bins, I don't want to put in like beds or sleepwear and stuff, right? Because people aren't going to be looking to buy a bin when they're looking at sleepwear. So you want to have them all in there, and then it's going to show you up on the right here a forecast. Now this is still in beta, they've only released it recently, so don't judge that as like the gospel of what your results are going to be. It is just a little bit handy to see there and sort of judge for how you can scale in the future. But otherwise, we're going to come down and you would then hit launch campaign. And just like your other ones, you now have a campaign running that's going to be optimized to drive traffic to your listing and to your brand. And then the only other type of sponsored display ad we're going to run, there's two, but they're very similar, so we'll go through them together now, but they're going to be a retarget ad. So Amazon now allows you to retarget people who looked at your products but didn't buy it, and people who also looked at your competitors' products. Now this is super, super powerful, right? So you can retarget people for up to 30 days. So if someone went and looked at your competitor's product and they didn't buy it, but they come back onto Amazon and then bam, there's your ad. You know, they've come back, they're like, oh, I did need to get that. There's your ad trying to snag them right before they go and buy your competitor's product. So up the top here, we're going to put in retarget, and then you would either put, you'd go dash and then either image if you were doing the image variation, or video if you were doing the video variation. So we'd have that, we'd leave our budget the same, we'd update this name, and we're gonna come down. And for this one, we're going to want to have it as optimized for conversions. Because we're retargeting, we want these people to be buying, okay? So we're not sort of retargeting people just for the sake of traffic and spending money on clicks anymore. We want the people that we're spending money on to be coming in to buy. Now, these two campaigns can be a little bit more expensive, but because we are going for those people who are wanting to buy, if it does end up working, it is always worth it. So we're going to scroll down, and again, the two different types, either image or video, you pick whichever ones you have ready. You're going to add your product in, and then we want to select audiences. That's how we get it. So we come here and we've got the different types here. And for this one, we just want to select the views remarketing. So you'll see it's going to show us here that we can add in people who viewed advertised products, which is our product, and then people who viewed similar to advertised products. So it's added them in on the side here, and it looks back for over the 30 days. And then we would just hit launch campaign, and that is going to target those people who have already come in, who are already sort of warm traffic, and give us that one last opportunity to snag them and still get that purchase. So that is all the campaigns you can set up if you aren't brand registered. So if you're launching without a brand and that's all you're going to want to set up, this is the timestamp to skip ahead to in the video, because I'm now going to go through the sponsored brand campaigns, which if you do have it, are going to give you a big step up, especially for launch. Now, there aren't a heap of these, but you can see what we're going to select in the middle here is the sponsored brand. So we're going to hit continue, and then that's going to bring us through to this little homepage. And again, we're going to want to make sure that we title it correctly. So we're going to select up the top 01 dash, this is a sponsored brand. And then for our first one, we're going to be running an exact campaign. Now, sponsored brands come in a couple of different forms. The first is it's showcasing your brand up the top of the search page. It's going to come up with a photo and the logo of your brand. And then that image, that banner, can also show up at the bottom on other people's listings. It goes up in a number of different places. And then if you have enough products and you have a store set up, you can also advertise your store, so that then it's the storefront that comes up, and that's really driving traffic and showing off your brand. A lot of people won't have that store option when they're launching because they just have the one product, so we're not going to go over that today. But then the other main option is a sponsored video. So the videos are really, really powerful, and it's one of the best bits about being brand registered. So be able to have a video show up on the search page, and it looks completely different to everything else on there, right? So it's a big scroll stopper, and if you have a really good video set up, it's easy to sell people using the video, because you get to showcase how your product's used, the type of people that are going to use it. So they can be a little bit more expensive, but they have a really, really high conversion rate. So we'll finish off our title here. We'll leave it at exact. I would usually do this in capitals, by the way, but I'm typing with one hand. We'll set our budget, which again, just like $10. And then we're going to come down, and we're going to leave this automated bidding on, allow Amazon to automatically optimize the bids. Although in maybe the US market, Amazon try and take a bit more money off you. In the Australian market, for now, I would definitely leave that on, because Amazon are pretty on top of it, and it learns as it goes, and they do a good job sometimes of saving you some money. So you can see here, there's the different types of ads that you can select, and I have to apologize, I did make a mistake. I thought that the store spotlight was the only ad type you needed to have a store. But for the product collection type, you either need to, one, have a store that you can then use to advertise up the top, or two, you need to have 3 products that Amazon can use to advertise up there. Now, most people aren't going to have 3 products when they're first advertising, so it is a lot easier to just have a store made, because if you're brand registered, you can then have a store made. And if that is the case, you would then choose your brand here and you choose a page to advertise for. I would usually just go to the home page. So then Amazon would advertise up in that banner. It would be your logo, an image that you choose, and then a product. And if people click it, it's going to drive them straight to that product on your store. So if you did have that store set up, which I definitely recommend, you can come to here, you go enter list, you'd put in those keywords from before, and then you're going to want to do it once under exact. So we'd untick these, we'd add the keywords, and then use that for the rest of it. We'd go through again and we'd make another campaign exactly the same, but except we'd add the keywords under broad and we'd add them like that. Okay, and then you're having an exact one that's driving traffic to that store, and then a broad one that's also driving traffic there. So then once you'd have your keywords pasted in here, we would scroll down and you have the little creative. So this shows what it's going to look like, of which I'd have to have this blurred, but you get to choose here. You see the logo, the brand name, if you want a headline, the products, and a custom image. Now, I find that it can get crowded very quickly. So I personally only have the logo, the brand name, and then the products. You can include a headline if you really want, if you have like a specific feature that's gonna, get people to stop. It's a scroll stopper. But otherwise, especially for the mobile device, it can get very crowded and it doesn't look very good. So just keep that in mind. You'll get the little preview that you can look at, and you just want to choose what sort of looks best and what's the best combination. So once you've gone through and done that, you would hit submit for review. These ones can take a couple of hours for Amazon to go over. They need to make sure you don't have like offensive or any type of thing that's going to interfere with their customers in there for the images or the videos. But then once it's up and running, these ones have a really high conversion rate and they can be great for stopping your customers while they're scrolling. So you've got the exact and the broad set up for that now. And then the last type of campaign that we'd want to set up is still in our sponsored brands, but it is that video. So if we're back at the top, I'm hoping that you'd have this almost memorized now, that we would change the exact to a video. And then we're going to come down, leave our budget, leave automated bidding, and we would select video. And then we can have the landing page be either the product detail page or a store on Amazon. I like to have it as the product detail page because then they're just clicking the video and then they can buy. Whereas if it goes to your store, there's more clicking, more traction before someone actually purchases the products. So I like to go product detail page, add your product in. And then once you've added it, you'll have your keywords again come up. You're going to want to add them in first with an exact, and then we'd add them, we'd finish it. We then come back through again, and then we want to add our keywords in and do a broad. So for your video campaign, you've then got an exact and a broad, so you'll be able to see what works best. And then to come down, again, you get to do your creative. So you would upload a video here, go back, add your product in. This one isn't as crowded, so it's okay to have both. And then you'd hit submit for review. Again, the video is going to take a little bit because someone at Amazon's got to watch it, make sure there's nothing bad in there. But those videos are some of the most important ads, so you definitely, if you can, want to have that up and running. Even if you don't have a professional video made, maybe it's just like a video that's images in a slideshow, it still gets a big piece of real estate and it's still a big scroll stopper. So I believe that it's worth having no matter what. Okay, so there you go. You have all your campaigns set up and you now know how to do them. Those are the campaigns that I would personally use when launching a product. And like I said, it is very aggressive and it can go through a little bit of money. But if you have a good product and you're aiming to get those high sales so that you rank as quick as possible, I believe that that is the best way to do it. You don't need to particularly focus on your profitability when you are launching like this, and which I've said before, the idea of the first order is to get your ranking, because if you can get that organic up, by the time you get that second order in, you're making the most, or the third order, you're making the most amount of profit that you possibly can. So don't stress if you are spending a heap on your advertising from the start, because the main goal is to get as many sales as possible. And now we're on to our third and final stage, which is the optimization, or what to do in the future. So the first thing you're going to do is nothing. You have to let the campaigns run for a week. Now, it's so tempting to be in there and be like, oh, I just want to change it a little bit and let's look at this one. But it's just going to drive you crazy, I promise. And you're not going to have any real data to go on until you've let it run for a week. Now, the only exception of this is you can go in and check them. And remember how I said we have those percentages set at the 100% and the 50%. If you have a couple keywords that are going in there and some of the bids are ridiculous, like I'm talking like you're bidding like $3 plus per click, then you're going to want to tone that down, okay? Then bring it down so you're not spending ridiculous amounts of money each day. But otherwise, you just want to let it run for a week so that then we can go in and look at some metrics, and then we're going to know what to change. So after a week, you want to go into each campaign individually, and you want to be looking at the cost per click, how many clicks, and how many purchases. So the general rule that I aim for is you want to have around 15 clicks equal 1 sale. So if you're in there and you find that your cost per click is maybe a little bit high, but you're getting 15 clicks and equals 1 sale, then that's a pretty good campaign. Maybe then tone down the bidding a little bit and see how many clicks you still get. But that equilibrium that we're looking for is getting those 15 clicks equaling 1 sale. On the flip side, if you're not getting any clicks or hardly any traffic, try putting the bid up a bit, okay? Even if you think the bid is already really high but you're not getting any clicks, I would continue to keep putting it up until you do get a click. Obviously, don't go ridiculous. If your bid's up at like $10, stop, just ditch that keyword, it's not big enough yet. But I would continue to put it up until you do get clicks, because I've had bids that have been at like $5, which is ridiculous, but then Amazon only charged me like 60 cents for the click. So the Australian ads dashboard is still working itself out because there's not as much traffic, there's not as much bidding going on through there. There is going to be weird things like that, so you just have to keep an eye out for that. So that's the basis of the optimization. And then after it's been running for 30 days, so every 30 days, I go in and do a full export of all of the campaigns. You do a bulk export, and that gives you all of the data across all the different campaigns. And you're essentially doing this same process, but with like a fine-tuned comb and in greater detail. So you're going through, you're seeing how much you're paying per click on each campaign, how many clicks you've got over the 30 days, and how many sales. So you'll know straight away, do I need to ditch this campaign? Do I need to lower the bids maybe and then test it again? Do I need to up the bids on this campaign, or am I just getting no traffic and I need to completely ditch it? I'm going to link a video down below that is a more in-depth guide of the bulk operations and doing the optimization, because that's another whole thing in itself, and this is already a super long video, but that's the general gist of it. Okay, you're going to be going in and just doing those little things, but on a bigger scale. And then you're essentially ready to go. So that's everything you're going to need to do your PPC launch. And remember, this is going aggressive. So you have it in there. You want it to be getting as many sales as you possibly can. And then going in, looking at it, testing different things, cutting back, going bigger where it needs to be. So remember, guys, if you want some more advanced level training, some more in-depth help, we have our free training on this Sunday. It's the first link down in the bio. We are also giving away access to our new course we're about to launch. Remember, this is over $10,000 of value, and we really never ever do this. So if you want to be one of the first people in there to test out the new program, and especially getting it for free, all you have to do is register for the training session down below. You're going to get an amazing session of education from me. You're going to get to see what it's like inside the program, and then you could win the program for free, right? Like, it's win, win, win. So make sure you reserve your spot down below. There's not that many spots left, but thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so proud of you for taking this extra step. I know it's tricky. Go back and watch over certain bits, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I always get back to it. Or join our free Discord where everyone is in there. You can ask the question or message me personally, and I'll get back to you in there. But otherwise, great job as always. I'm super proud of you. And remember, you're only one product away from living the life of your dreams. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Or the training. Peace.